Commander Jiho Kim stood in the observation deck of the research station, watching the stars through the thick glass. The station floated in empty space, far from any trade routes or alien patrol ships. No one knew this place existed, except for a few hundred humans who worked here day and night on the most important secret in human history. The year was 2387, and humanity had been part of the Galactic Consortium for 50 years. During those years, humans learned their place in the galaxy. They were the small ones, the weak ones, the species that other aliens used for simple jobs: mining asteroids, building basic machines, growing food on frontier worlds. The three great powers of the galaxy made sure humans knew they would never be anything more. The Vorthak Empire ruled with crystal ships that could slice through planets. Their bodies were made of living crystal, and they had controlled space for thousands of years. The Zilani Collective shared one giant mind across billions of bug-like bodies, building hive cities on 100 worlds. The Prin Federation used machines and computers so advanced they seemed like magic to most species. These three powers decided everything important in the galaxy. Humans were given scraps, a few small worlds in the outer rim, permission to trade basic goods, and strict rules about what technology they could use. Any human who tried to build better weapons or faster ships would face the wrath of the consortium. The message was clear: stay in your place or be destroyed. But humans had a gift for not staying in their place. Dr. Mira Park walked into the observation room, her face tired but excited. She had been working for 3 straight days on the latest calculations. Her dark hair was messy and her clothes wrinkled, but her eyes shone with the look of someone who had just solved an impossible puzzle. "Jiho, we did it," she said quietly. "The equations work. We can actually harvest dark energy." Jiho turned from the window. He had known Mira since their university days on Earth, and he had never seen her this excited. "You're sure? The simulations all check out?" "More than that. The small prototype worked this morning. We pulled actual dark energy from space and stored it in the containment field. Just for 30 seconds, but it worked." Mira pulled up a data pad and showed him numbers and charts. "This isn't theory anymore, it's real. Dark energy was everywhere in the universe, making up most of everything that existed. But it was invisible and untouchable. Scientists had known about it for centuries, but no one had ever figured out how to use it. The three great powers had built their technology around normal matter and energy. They used fusion reactors, antimatter drives, and plasma weapons. All powerful, but all limited by the basic rules of physics. What Mira and her team had discovered was a way to reach past those rules. "If we can scale this up," Jiho said slowly, "we could build ships that move faster than anything in the galaxy. Weapons that work in ways the aliens have never seen." "That's not even the best part," Mira said. "Dark energy doesn't interact with normal matter the way regular energy does. A ship powered by dark energy could move through solid objects. Weapons using dark energy could pass right through shields and armor like they weren't there." Admiral Taeho Lee entered the observation room just as Mira finished speaking. He was an older man with gray hair and hard eyes, someone who had fought in the border wars with alien raiders years ago. He had seen human ships destroyed by technology they couldn't match, watched good soldiers die because their weapons were too weak and their armor too thin. "Dr. Park, Commander Kim," he nodded to both of them. "I've been reviewing your reports. Tell me honestly, how long before we can build a real warship using this technology?" Mira looked at her data pad again. "The math says we need 6 months to build a proper dark energy reactor. Another 3 months to design weapon systems. Call it a year for the first prototype ship." "The aliens won't wait forever," Admiral Lee said. "Intelligence reports show increased consortium patrols near our space. They're getting suspicious about our research activities. Some of the smaller alien powers are pushing for inspections of our facilities." "Let them come," Jiho said. "This station is officially listed as a mining platform. All our real work is happening in shielded sections they'll never detect." "What about materials?" Admiral Lee asked. "A dark energy reactor will need elements we don't normally use." "Already handled," Mira replied. The beauty of dark energy is that it doesn't need exotic matter to work. We can build everything using standard materials just arranged in very specific ways. The aliens will look at our supply orders and see nothing unusual. Admiral Lee was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the stars just as Jiho had been doing. 50 years, he said finally. 50 years of being told we're not good enough, not smart enough, not advanced enough to matter. The Vorthak treat us like pets. The Zilani see us as useful insects. The Prin think we're barely intelligent. All that changes once we have dark energy ships, Jiho said. Does it? Or do we just become a threat they need to eliminate? Admiral Lee turned back to face them. If we do this, there's no going back. Once the aliens know what we can do, they'll either accept us as equals or try to wipe out humanity completely. They'll try anyway, Mira said. Maybe not this year or next, but eventually. The consortium doesn't allow new powers to rise. They've destroyed species who got too advanced, too independent. Our choice isn't between safety and danger. It's between dying as slaves or fighting as equals. Unichoi entered the room carrying a metal case. She was the senior engineer on the project, responsible for turning Mira's theories into working machines. Her hands were stained with metal dust and her coveralls smelled like welding smoke. Sorry to interrupt, she said, but you need to see this. She opened the case to reveal a small device about the size of a book. It hummed quietly and seemed to bend the light around it in strange ways. This is the Mark I dark energy manipulator. It's pulling energy from space and converting it to usable power right now. Jiho reached out to touch the device but stopped when his hand felt cold near it. Is it safe? Safer than fusion reactors, actually. If something goes wrong, the worst that happens is the field collapses and the energy returns to space. No explosions, no radiation, no meltdown. How much power is it producing? Admiral Lee asked. Right now? About enough to run a small city. But this is just a test unit. Scale it up to ship size and we're talking about more power than entire alien fleets combined. Admiral Lee picked up the device carefully, feeling its strange weight. It was heavier than it looked but also seemed to want to float out of his hands. Dr. Park, I'm authorizing the full construction program. Build me a fleet of these ships. How many ships? Jiho asked. Start with 12. Small ones first, then bigger ships as we learn how the technology works in combat. We'll test them in secret, train crews in secret, and keep everything hidden until we're ready. Ready for what? Mira asked. Admiral Lee looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, alien civilizations controlled hundreds of worlds and thousands of ships. They had ruled the galaxy for so long they thought nothing could challenge them. Ready to show the galaxy that humanity is done being afraid. Over. The following months, the secret station grew. More ships arrived carrying scientists, engineers, and materials. New sections were built and hidden behind false walls and fake mining equipment. Deep inside the station, teams worked around the clock building humanity's first dark energy reactor. The reactor was beautiful in a way that normal machines weren't. Instead of pipes and tanks and control panels, it looked like a sculpture made of metal and light. Curved pieces of specially shaped metal created fields that reached into the space between atoms, finding the invisible energy that filled the universe. When they turned it on for the first time, every human on the station felt it. The lights didn't flicker and no alarms went off, but something had changed. The air itself felt different, charged with possibility. Power output is stable, Una reported from the control room. All safety systems green. We're pulling enough energy to power Earth's entire moon base. And the aliens? Jiho asked. Their sensors show nothing unusual. To them, we're still just a mining platform. The first ship took shape in the station's hidden construction bay. It was smaller than most alien warships but moved like nothing else in the galaxy. When its dark energy drive activated, the ship seemed to fade slightly, as if it existed in two places at once. They called it the Soul's Thunder, and it would change everything. Captain Do-Yun Shin sat in the command chair of the UES Incheon's Wrath, watching the stars bend around his ship as it traveled through dark energy fold space. 6 months had passed since Admiral Lee authorized the fleet construction, and humanity now had its first combat-ready dark energy warship. The Inchon's wrath was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. From the outside, it looked like a piece of the night sky had been carved into the shape of a ship. Its hull seemed to absorb light, and when it moved, space itself appeared to ripple around it. Inside, the corridors hummed with power that felt alive. "Captain, we're receiving a distress signal from New Busan Colony," Lieutenant Soman Han reported from the weapons station. Her fingers moved across controls that would have seemed impossible to alien engineers. Instead of buttons and switches, the dark energy systems responded to thought and intention, reading the electrical patterns in human brains. "Put it through," Do-Yun ordered. The voice that filled the bridge was tight with fear. "This is Governor Jinwoo Nam of New Busan Colony. We are under attack by Keth Dominion forces. 200 ships, maybe more. They came out of hyperspace in Hai hour ago and started bombing our settlements. We have no military ships, no way to fight back. If anyone receives this message, please help us." Do-Hyun felt anger burn in his chest. The Keth were reptilian aliens who lived by raiding weaker species. They took slaves, stole resources, and destroyed anything they couldn't use. The consortium allowed it because the Keth stayed in the outer rim, far from important worlds. New Busan was a farming colony with 50,000 human families. Good people who grew food and raised children and never hurt anyone. The kind of people the galaxy considered expendable. "Lieutenant Han, how long to reach New Busan using conventional hyperspace?" Do-Hyun asked. 3 weeks, sir. The colony will be gone by then. And using dark energy fold space?" Soman checked her instruments. The dark energy drive was still experimental, used only for short test flights near Earth. No human ship had ever made a combat jump across this much space. 4 hours, sir, maybe 5. Do-Hyun made his decision in less than a second. "Set course for New Busan. Maximum fold space velocity." "Sir, we don't have orders from Earth Command," his first officer warned. "I'm giving the orders now," Do-Hyun replied. "Prepare for combat jump." The Inchon's wrath disappeared from normal space in a flash of twisted light. To any alien sensors watching, it simply stopped existing. On New Busan, Governor Jinwoo Nam stood on the burning remains of his capital city and watched Keth ships rain fire from the sky. The aliens were taking their time, destroying buildings, one by one, while their ground troops rounded up survivors. They wanted healthy slaves, so they were careful not to kill everyone at once. Jinwoo had been a soldier once, 20 years ago during the border conflicts. He knew what Keth raiders did to human prisoners. The men would be worked to death in their mines. The women would be sold to other species. The children would disappear into the slave markets of the Outer Rim. "Governor, we're reading some kind of energy signature," one of his staff reported from the emergency bunker. "Something big just appeared at the edge of the system." "More Keth ships?" Jinwoo asked, though he didn't know how it could get any worse. "No, sir. The signature is completely unknown, and it's moving this way fast." War leader Vextar commanded the Keth raid fleet from his flagship, a massive ship covered in spikes and weapon pods. He was 8 feet tall with scales like black armor and teeth designed for tearing meat. His species had been raiding for 1,000 years, and he had personally destroyed a dozen human settlements. "Report on the human resistance," he growled. To his tactical officer, "Minimal, war leader. They have no military ships, no orbital defenses, a few ground-based weapons that can't reach our altitude. We should have the entire colony processed within 2 days." Vextar nodded with satisfaction. Humans were always easy prey. They built soft colonies with no defenses, trusting the consortium to protect them. The consortium never bothered with outer rim worlds. "War leader," his sensor officer suddenly shouted. "Unknown contact approaching from hyperspace, large energy signature." "Another human ship?" Vextar asked without much interest. "Negative, sir. The energy pattern is completely foreign. I've never seen anything like it." Before Vextar could respond, space twisted near his fleet. Reality seemed to fold in on itself, and then something emerged from the impossible distortion. The human ship that appeared was like nothing in the galaxy. It seemed to exist in several dimensions at once, its hull shifting and flowing like liquid shadow. When it moved, the stars behind it bent as if seen through broken glass. The Keth sensors couldn't get a solid reading on it because half the ship appeared to exist outside normal spacetime. "What is that thing?" Vextar whispered. On the bridge of the Incheon's Wrath, Captain Do-yun took in the tactical situation with cold fury. 200 Keth ships surrounded New Busan like vultures, around a corpse. Smoke rose from burning cities on the planet below. His sensors detected thousands of human life signs in Keth holding pens. "Lieutenant Han, target the largest Keth ships first. Show them what dark energy weapons can do." Soman's hands moved across her control interface, and the ship's weapon systems came alive. Instead of normal plasma cannons or missile launchers, the Incheon's Wrath carried focused dark energy projectors. The weapons drew power from the same source that filled the universe, concentrating it into beams that could reach through solid matter like it was empty air. "Weapons ready, Captain. Target locked on the Keth flagship." Fire. The dark energy beam that lanced out from the human ship was almost invisible, just a slight distortion in space that moved at the speed of light. It struck Vextar's flagship and passed completely through its shields as if they didn't exist. The Keth ship didn't explode. It simply began to come apart at the molecular level. The hull dissolved from the inside out as dark energy unraveled the atomic bonds holding it together. In 10 seconds, a ship the size of a city block had turned into an expanding cloud of dust. "War leader," the sensor officer screamed, but Vextar was already gone, his body scattered among the particles that had once been his ship. The remaining Keth fleet panicked. Their weapons opened fire on the human ship, filling space with plasma bolts and missile swarms. Every shot passed harmlessly through the Incheon's Wrath as if it were a ghost. "They can't touch us," Soman reported with amazement in her voice. "The dark energy field around our hull is shifting us partially out of normal space. Their weapons are hitting where we were, not where we are. Continue firing. Target their troop transports first." The slaughter that followed would be remembered in alien military academies for generations. The human ship moved through the Keth fleet like death itself, its weapons reaching through armor and shields to destroy ships from within. Keth vessels tried to run, but the Incheon's Wrath could appear anywhere instantly using its dark energy drive. One by one, the raider ships disappeared into clouds of particles. Their crews never understood what was killing them. Their most advanced sensors couldn't track a ship that existed in multiple dimensions. Their strongest weapons couldn't harm an enemy that phased in and out of reality. In 15 minutes, 200 Keth warships were reduced to empty space and floating debris. Governor Jinwoo stood in his bunker watching the sensor displays with disbelief. The massive alien fleet that had been destroying his world was simply gone. In its place, a single unknown ship hung in orbit like a dark angel. "Governor, we're receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel," his communications officer reported. "Put it through." A calm voice filled the bunker. "New Busan Colony, this is Captain Do-yun Shin of the United Earth ship Incheon's Wrath. The Keth raider fleet has been eliminated. We are sending shuttles to evacuate prisoners and provide medical assistance." Jinwoo felt tears run down his face. "Captain Shin, this is Governor Nam. How did you get here so fast? How did you destroy so many ships?" "That's classified information, Governor, but I can tell you this much: humanity is done being prey for alien raiders. Across the galaxy, consortium monitoring stations detected the energy signatures from the battle. Ancient computers that had tracked galactic conflicts for millennia struggled to process what they had recorded. The energy readings were impossible, according to all known physics. In crystal halls on Vorthak Prime, the Crystarch studied the reports with growing unease. In the hive cities of the Zelani Collective, billions of minds shared the same thought. Something had changed in the galaxy. In the machine worlds of the Prin Federation, artificial intelligences ran calculations over and over, trying to understand how a single ship could generate such massive energy outputs. None of them understood that they had just witnessed the first shot in a war that would reshape the galaxy. The age of human submission was over. The age of fear had begun. The emergency session of the Galactic Consortium Council had been called within hours of the New Busan incident. In the great crystal chamber on Nexus Prime, Representatives from 300 species gathered to discuss what many were calling the most dangerous development in galactic history. Ambassador Yunbi Yun sat in the small section reserved for humanity, surrounded by empty seats. For 50 years, humans had been allowed only one representative in the council, and that representative had never been invited to speak on important matters. Today, every alien eye in the chamber was focused on her. Vorthak Prime Christarch Morthul rose from his throne-like seat, his crystal body catching and reflecting the chamber's lights in patterns that showed his deep anger. He was over 3,000 years old and had ruled the Vorthak Empire since before humans had discovered fire. "We are here to address the human problem." His voice rang through the chamber like breaking glass. "Yesterday, a single human vessel destroyed 200 Keith warships. Our sensor records show energy outputs that should be impossible. We demand immediate explanation." Ambassador Yun stood slowly. She was a small woman compared to most of the aliens around her, but she had been chosen for this role because she never backed down from a fight. "The Keth were attacking a human colony. We defended ourselves. I see no problem that needs addressing." A wave of angry sounds filled the chamber. The Zilani Collective's speaker, an insect-like creature that spoke for billions of minds, clicked, its mandibles in irritation. "The problem is not defense, the problem is capability. How do humans possess technology we have never seen?" "Perhaps you haven't been looking hard enough," Yunbi replied calmly. Prin Strategic AI Unit 7 projected its holographic form into the center of the chamber. The artificial intelligence appeared as a shifting geometric pattern that hurt to look at directly. Analysis of the energy signatures indicates manipulation of dark energy on a scale theoretically impossible. Human technology now exceeds consortium capabilities by several orders of magnitude. "Impossible," Christarch Morthul declared. "Humans are a primitive species. They lack the scientific foundation for such advances." "The evidence suggests otherwise," Unit 7 continued. "Preliminary calculations indicate human warships now possess faster-than-light travel superior to our best ships, weapons that bypass all known defensive systems, and shielding that places them partially outside normal space-time." The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from dozens of species shouted questions and demands. Some called for immediate military action against humanity. Others suggested negotiation. A few smaller species quietly whispered among themselves about switching sides. Fleet. Admiral Hyunwoo Jang watched the council session from the bridge of his flagship, the UES Busan's Pride. The massive dark energy dreadnought hung in space just outside the Nexus system, invisible to alien sensors but perfectly capable of monitoring their communications. "Admiral, we have 12 more dark energy ships positioned around key consortium worlds," his tactical officer reported. "All ships report ready status." "And the aliens still can't detect them?" Hyunwoo asked. "No, sir. The dark energy fields make us effectively invisible to their sensors. As far as they know, we could have 1,000 ships in their space or none at all." Hyunwoo nodded with satisfaction. The psychological warfare was working perfectly. The aliens knew humans had new capabilities, but they had no idea how many ships existed or where they were deployed. Fear of the unknown was often more powerful than fear of known enemies. Back in the council chamber, Christarch Morthul was demanding answers that Ambassador Yun refused to provide. "You will open your military facilities to consortium inspection," the Vorthak ruler declared. "We must understand the extent of human technological development." "I'm afraid that won't be possible," Yunbi replied. "Human sovereignty includes the right to maintain military secrets." "Sovereignty?" The Christarch's voice rose to a painful pitch. "Humans have no sovereignty beyond what the consortium grants. You exist at our sufferance." "That was yesterday," Yunbi said quietly. "Today, humanity offers the consortium new terms. We want full membership status, equal voting rights, and recognition as a major galactic power. In return, we will continue to honor existing trade agreements and territorial boundaries." The chamber fell completely silent. In 3,000 years of consortium history, no minor species had ever demanded equal status. The three major powers had built the galactic order on the understanding that some races were born to rule and others to serve. And if we refuse these demands? Asked the Zilani speaker. Then humanity will withdraw from the consortium entirely and pursue our own interest in the galaxy. Yunbi's voice remained calm, but every alien in the chamber understood the threat behind her words. Unit 7's holographic form flickered as it processed billions of calculations. Admiral Kethvar of the Prin Defense Force wishes to address the Council. A tall, blue-skinned humanoid in military uniform appeared via hologram. Admiral Kethvar had commanded consortium forces for over a century and had never lost a battle. His face was grim as he spoke. I have reviewed the tactical data from New Busan. The human vessel demonstrated capabilities that render our entire fleet obsolete. It moved through Keth formations without taking damage, destroyed ships with weapons that bypassed all defenses, and completed the engagement in minutes. Surely you're not suggesting we surrender to a single human ship, Kristark Morthul demanded. I'm suggesting we face reality, Kethvar replied. If humans can build one such ship, they can build 100. If they position dark energy fleets around our core worlds, we would never see them coming. As if summoned by his words, alarms began blaring throughout the chamber. Consortium defense networks were detecting massive energy signatures appearing around 12 major worlds simultaneously. Human ships were decloaking in the heart of consortium space. On his flagship, Admiral Hyunwoo watched the alien panic with cold satisfaction. Send the message to all consortium forces. Across the galaxy, the same transmission appeared on every alien military frequency. Admiral Hyunwoo's face filled their screens, his expression calm but implacable. This is Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo Jang of the United Earth Defense Force. Human vessels are now positioned within striking distance of your most important worlds. We have not opened fire because we prefer negotiation to destruction. However, let there be no mistake about our capabilities. The transmission showed tactical displays of human ships surrounding Vorthak Prime, the Zilani home hives, and the Central Prin machine worlds. Ships that registered as tiers in space itself, capable of unleashing weapons that could sterilize planets. We seek peace, but we will no longer accept subservience. The age of human submission is over. Adjust your policies accordingly. In the council chamber, Ambassador Yunbi stood as chaos erupted around her. Representatives screamed demands, accusations, and threats, but underneath the noise, she could hear something new. Fear. The Kristark's crystal form was actually cracking, with rage. This is an act of war. We will mobilize every ship in the galaxy to crush humanity. With what? Yunbi asked simply. Your sensors can't track our ships, your weapons can't harm them, your shields can't stop our weapons. What exactly will you mobilize against an enemy you cannot see or touch? Unit 7's hologram flickered, more rapidly. Probability calculations suggest human technological superiority is insurmountable with current consortium capabilities. Recommended course of action, negotiation. Never, the Kristark roared. The Vorthak Empire has ruled for millennia. We will not bow to primitive mammals. Then you will fall to them, Admiral Kethvar said quietly. I've spent my life studying warfare. The humans have achieved complete technological dominance. Fighting them would be suicide. Across the galaxy, smaller alien species were reaching the same conclusion. Representatives from dozens of minor worlds began sending secret communications to human colonies, offering alliance and trade agreements. If humanity was going to be the new dominant power, they wanted to be on the winning side. The Zilani collective speaker suddenly stood, its millions of voices speaking as one. The collective requires time to process this development. We request a recess to consider humanity's proposals. Ambassador Yunbi smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. Of course, take all the time you need. But remember, our ships are already in position. The next move is yours. As the council session dissolved into angry groups and worried whispers, Yunbi walked calmly toward the exit. Behind her, 3,000 years of galactic order was crumbling. The old powers were learning what humans had always known. The only Constant in the universe was change, and change, it seemed, had dark energy weapons. Supreme Commander Kyung-Soo Park stood in the command center deep inside Earth's moon, watching status reports from across the galaxy. 3 weeks had passed since the Consortium Council session, and the alien powers had made their choice. Instead of accepting humanity's terms, they had formed what they called the Stability Coalition. Every major species in the galaxy had joined the alliance against humanity. The Vorthak Empire contributed their crystal fleets. The Zelani Collective offered their hive ships and endless swarms of fighters. The Prin Federation provided their most advanced AI-controlled vessels. Even minor species that had never worked together before were sending ships to fight the human threat. Status report, Kyung-Soo ordered. Coalition forces are massing at 7 staging areas throughout the galaxy, his intelligence officer reported. Current count shows over 15,000 warships, with more arriving hourly. They're calling it the largest military force in galactic history. And our forces? 47 dark energy ships ready for combat operations. The new dreadnoughts are still in final testing. Kyung-Soo nodded calmly. Any normal military commander would be terrified by those numbers. 15,000 enemy ships against fewer than 50 human vessels seemed like impossible odds. But dark energy technology had changed the rules of warfare completely. Dr. Won-Ho Lee entered the command center carrying a datapad filled with calculations that would reshape the galaxy. As the lead scientist on Project Deep Strike, he had spent months developing humanity's ultimate weapon. Commander Park, the stellar destabilization tests are complete. We can now weaponize dark energy on a star system scale. Kyung-Soo studied the data with growing amazement. This can actually work? Dark energy manipulation allows us to alter the fundamental forces that hold stars together. We can make a star go supernova, or we can isolate entire solar systems from normal spacetime. Any star system we target becomes completely cut off from the rest of the galaxy. How long does the effect last? As long as we maintain the field generators. We could isolate the Vorthak home system for 1,000 years if we wanted to. The implications were staggering. Humanity could now make enemy homeworlds simply disappear from the galaxy without destroying them. It was the perfect weapon for a species that preferred to win through superior technology rather than genocide. Captain Nari Kim commanded the newest class of human warships from the bridge of the UES Soul's Thunder. The massive dreadnought was 5 times larger than the original dark energy ships, and its weapons could reshape reality itself within a light-year radius. Captain, we're detecting the Coalition Vanguard fleet, her tactical officer reported. 600 ships moving toward the Kepler system. Any response from our diplomatic channels? Nari asked. Admiral Kethvar sent one final ultimatum. Surrender all dark energy technology and submit to consortium authority, or face total war. Nari smiled coldly. Admiral Kethvar was an honorable soldier, but he still didn't understand what he was fighting. The Coalition believed this would be a conventional war fought with normal weapons and tactics. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Signal: all human ships. Operation Nightfall is authorized. Across the galaxy, 47 dark energy vessels received the same order. They had been positioned in fold space around Coalition staging areas for days, invisible to all sensors, waiting for this moment. The first Coalition fleet to die never knew what hit them. One moment, Admiral Kethvar was reviewing attack plans with his staff. The next moment, his flagship was being torn apart by weapons that reached through his shields like they were made of paper. Human ships materialized throughout the Coalition formation, appearing from fold space directly inside. The alien defensive perimeters. The Soul's Thunder emerged in the center of 600 enemy vessels like a dark god of war. Target their command ships first, Captain Nari ordered. Show them that size and numbers mean nothing against superior technology. The battle was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration. Dark energy weapons reached through the hulls of Coalition ships, unraveling them from within. Human vessels phased in and out of normal space, making themselves impossible to target while striking at will. Coalition forces fired everything they had: plasma cannons, antimatter torpedoes, fusion missiles, and gravity bombs filled space with destructive energy. None of it touched the human ships. The dark energy fields around their hulls existed in multiple dimensions, and conventional weapons could only affect normal three-dimensional space. Coalition fleet strength down to 400 ships, the tactical officer reported. 300 ships, 100 ships. In 20 minutes, 600 of the galaxy's most advanced warships had been reduced to expanding clouds of particles. Similar scenes played out at Coalition staging areas across the galaxy. Alien commanders who had never lost battles watched, their fleets dissolve under weapons they couldn't understand. Species that had ruled space for millennia found themselves completely helpless against human technology. Admiral Kethvar survived the destruction of his fleet only because Captain Nari deliberately spared his ship. As the sole survivor floating, in space surrounded by debris, he sent a message that reached every Coalition commander in the galaxy. This is Admiral Kethvar to all Coalition forces. Immediate ceasefire. Human technological superiority is absolute. Further resistance is suicide. But the Coalition leaders refused to accept defeat. Christarch Morthul ordered his remaining fleets to attack human colonies directly. If they couldn't defeat human warships, they would force humanity to surrender by threatening civilian populations. That was their final mistake. Supreme Commander Kyung-Soo Park received reports of Coalition attacks on 3 human farming worlds. Alien ships were bombing defenseless settlements, killing families who had never hurt anyone. Dr. Lee, how quickly can we deploy the stellar isolation weapons? The field generators are ready, Commander. We can isolate any star system within hours. Do it. Isolate the Vorthak home system, the primary Zilani hive worlds, and Prin Central Command. Cut them off from the galaxy completely. What happened next would be remembered as the day the galaxy learned to fear human mercy. Instead of destroying the alien homeworlds, humanity made them disappear. Dark energy field generators positioned throughout space created barriers that separated entire solar systems from normal space-time. The Vorthak home system simply vanished, existing in a pocket dimension where no signals could enter or leave. The great hive worlds of the Zilani became unreachable islands floating in folded space. Prin Central Command found itself alone in an empty universe. The psychological effect was devastating. Coalition forces throughout the galaxy watched their homeworlds disappear from all sensors. They could not communicate with their governments, could not receive orders, could not even confirm their homes still existed. In the Consortium Council chamber, Ambassador Yoon Bi-yoon addressed the remaining alien representatives. Many seats were empty now, their occupants cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Humanity offers peace, she said calmly. Your isolated worlds will be returned to normal space when you agree to our terms. Your surviving fleets will be allowed to return home. We seek partnership, not conquest. The few alien leaders still able to attend the session looked at her with a mixture of fear and amazement. They had tried to destroy humanity and failed completely. Now the humans were offering mercy instead of revenge. What are your terms? Asked a representative from one of the minor species. Simple. Equal status for humanity in galactic affairs. An end to technology restrictions on human worlds. Fair trade agreements. And recognition that the age of species-based hierarchy is over. Dr. Wan-Ho Lee's voice came through the chamber's communication system. The isolated star systems will be returned to normal space in 72 hours if these terms are accepted. If not, the isolation becomes permanent. One by one, the alien representatives agreed. They had no choice. Humanity had demonstrated power beyond their comprehension, and they had done it without destroying a single inhabited world. 3 days later, the Vorthak home system shimmered back into normal space. Christarch Morthul found his crystal palace, exactly as he had left it, but the galaxy had changed forever. The age of Vorthak dominance was over. Similar scenes played out across alien space. The Zilani collective's hive minds buzzed with confusion as they tried to process their complete defeat. Prin artificial intelligences ran endless calculations trying to understand how they had been so thoroughly outmaneuvered. But humanity's greatest victory was not military. It was moral. By choosing isolation over destruction, mercy over revenge, humans had shown the galaxy a new way to resolve conflicts. Superior technology did not have to mean extinction for the losers. Supreme Commander Kyung-Soo Park addressed the galaxy from Earth's Lunar Command Center. The war is over. Humanity takes no territory, demands no tribute, and seeks no revenge. We want only what we have always wanted, to be treated as equals among the stars. In the months that followed, the galaxy slowly adjusted to its new reality. Human dark energy technology remained classified, but the threat of its use kept the peace. Former enemies became trading partners. Species that had never spoken to each other began working together on joint projects.